कम से कम यूरोपियन स्टैंडर्ड को हम लोग स्वीकारने वाले हैं। अगर आप फिर से मुझे कहोगे पुराना माल हमने बना लिया है, आप हमको बेचने की अनुमति दो, मैं एक आधे बार सहृदयी बनकर दूंगा, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट तुम्हारे को कभी परमिशन नहीं देगा, फिर नहीं भांग आएंगे। मैं तो ये करने वाला हूँ, अगर यू लाइक इट मैं ना तो मैं आपको पूछने वाला नहीं, मैं बुलडोज करने वाला हूँ। मैं ये पोल्यूशन के लिए, इंपोर्ट के लिए, मेरी आइडिया बहुत साफ है। आप बार बार बोलते हैं कि पॉलिसी क्लियर होनी चाहिए, बहुत क्लियर पॉलिसी। ये पेट्रोल डीजल बनाने वालों का बैंड बाजा बजाना है, ये मेरे मन में इसमें कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं कि हम इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल को इनकरेज करेंगे। जो चलेंगे उनके साथ, नो नहीं आएंगे उनके बिना, और जो आना नहीं चाहते उनको गसेट क्यों हम वहाँ पहुँचने वाले हैं। ये बात पक्की है, क्रिस्टल क्लियर क्लैरिटी पॉलिसी, अब इसमें कोई कंफ्यूजन मत रखना।
Hello and welcome to the special broadcast here on CNBC-TV18, where we'll get you the key highlights from SIAM's annual conference day. For me, the big highlight really was Mr. Nitin Gadkari's speech. He had a very clear, unambiguous message to the auto industry that the government was thinking beyond petrol and diesel and urged the auto industry to really wake up to this challenge. The message was clear: either they shape up to this new reality or ship out. Here's how the auto industry reacted to Mr. Nitin Gadkari's opening remarks.
I think again this is not a message that he's giving for the first time, maybe first time in a large public forum, but he has always been very passionate about this message. He has been saying that I would like to see the import of crude oil come down drastically, because that is creating a balance of trade problem for India. And in fact the electric vehicle movement that now India is taking very seriously is going to take us in that direction. Our company Mahindra started electric vehicle work many years ago, perhaps a little bit ahead of our time, and now we are very delighted that the whole country, every automaker in India, the government of India, all departments are focusing on that, and that is really a solution in terms of eliminating use of petrol and diesel 100%. I don't believe that we will get to 100% electric vehicle in 8 years, 10 years, but we certainly are moving very aggressively in that direction as a nation.
The aspiration of the government, as it was expressed by the ministers earlier this morning, with the technical capability on our side, but even more so with the affordability, because for us, Tata Motors as an all-Indian player, we require indigenous solutions which we need to engineer, which we need to develop, which we need to industrialize, and which we finally need to apply on the product. Because I have not the luxury of a shelf where I can actually pick and choose some globally applied technologies already. Because otherwise I will actually price myself or cost myself in the first instance out of the market. So we need some time to adapt. So very often we got criticized not for being resistant to change. We have often been criticized as an industry for being slow with the change, but one of the reasons is the one I have just mentioned.
First is policy. You need to have a very clear policy. Once the policy framework is done, then you have to work towards infrastructure. First infrastructure is, suppliers, battery manufacturing facilities in India, then charging infrastructure in, all across India. So that is also very, very important, because if you don't have that infrastructure, all this is on PowerPoint. So clearly I look forward to first step, which is policy, and then manufacturers like us would review and decide our next steps.
What does the government expect to do? So if government wants to kickstart electric, it's to give phenomenal benefits. You really got to take the bull by the horn. You really need to take a lot of dynamic, concrete steps, whether in terms of import duty, whether in terms of clearly in terms of other state duties, whether in terms of taxes, and whether in terms of infrastructure. So once you do those things, then it starts accelerating. It becomes a catalyst.
While a discount war is on, no automaker is really ready to take the blame. While all the commercial vehicle makers accept the fact that there is deep and heavy discounting, all of them are blaming the other manufacturer for the same.
All I can say is, in case of Mahindra, we have precisely done calculations, and we have not either increased prices or decreased prices under the guise of GST. I don't know, I have not done the math to know whether other companies have reduced prices under guise of GST or increased prices. I don't know that. But certainly GST has brought down prices significantly. Whether it is simply an effect of GST rate or whether it is beyond GST rate, I don't know that.
Okay, but I mean, you're saying Mahindra, you have sort of kept within the bounds.
The only thing that has changed for us is that earlier we had many different taxations, and therefore prices were different in different states. We have tried to do some kind of averaging so that the prices, we don't have so many different prices. We have maybe 2 prices, 3 prices.
So, you know, now again we are seeing a lot of newspaper ads about discounts being back. And, you know, according to the SIAM list, there are 15, 16 members, okay, of which only 3 or 4 are actually growing. And that 3 or 4 are reporting growth on an average. And on top of that, we are seeing discounts. So are we, you know, is this recovery sort of, you know, still very, very fragile?
See, if I look at Ranojay, macro factors, everything is positive. Okay, GST certainly has helped the industry because all vehicle prices have come down at least marginally, if not by 7, 8, 10%, right? So obviously it's helping in growth. Interest rates are the lowest that we have seen in many, many years. Inflation is the lowest that we have seen in many, many years. And so if I look at all of these things, and monsoon has been very good for second year in a row. Agriculture growth is very good. So all of these factors point to a very good growing environment for the industry. And therefore, I would think that the growth is not fragile. Yes, it is not a growth that is uniform across all OEMs. There are certain OEMs growing much faster than others, or there are many who are still degrowing, and that says that the customer is very choosy. And customer is not just going and buying a car or a bus or a commercial vehicle. It's very choosy in terms of what is being offered by a consumer at what price, what value is being created, what kind of service am I getting, and therefore for the companies within the overall growth of the industry, for individual company, they have to work very hard to win the confidence of the customer. And this is the sign of a mature market. India now is a mature market. Discounting that is happening today in the commercial vehicle, heavy commercial vehicle especially, is not very healthy. It is leading to the industry perhaps working on very, very thin margin. Many companies perhaps are even losing money because we don't get the individual breakup of every company. And it's not healthy.
There is a general perception that all the market shares we have gained is possibly the result of higher discounts. I can actually tell you, and that's supported by statistics, it does not come from the higher discounts. The last 2 months where we have seen a significant increase of volume and gain of market share is purely on the account of new products launched in the last fiscal year, where now the full capacity is available. The ramp-up of our SER-based new BS4 vehicles, and the ramp-up of a couple of new products where we have started a firework of new launches in commercial vehicles ever since May this year, and where more of these products expected to come in the coming weeks and months.
There has been some crazy pricing that has been done by some in the industry, I don't want to name who, and crazy financing. But I told you earlier that we will not go down the route of buying market share. No matter what, I will continue to protect my margin. And hence we lost market share in the month of August, still maintained at respectable levels at over 31%. And I will continue to do that, but I will not chase market share on the basis of price. So,
wow, so you're saying crazy financing, crazy pricing by some manufacturers. So you're saying that some CV makers are once again resorting to very heavy discounting, which one thought was perhaps somewhat over post GST, but you're saying that is not the case.
Well, in some cases it never went away, but in some cases it has actually gotten much worse. It's unfortunate. So, but we will not chase it. Let it be, and ultimately the choice is with the customer.
Let's talk about your LCV business then. You know, you were a late entrant into this player, and many would say you've sort of, you know, you've given a lot of space to Tata Motors and M&M. What is Ashok Leyland doing about it? Because your market share is still a low double digit. What's the plan?
We were not only late, we only had one model called Dost. We didn't have anything else. If you remember, we've been in the LCV business now for 7 years with one model. Remember, we were in a joint venture where we had constraints of the joint venture preventing us from adding new products and all of that. So now that we have the full ownership of the joint venture, we have decided that you will see almost one new product every quarter.